Hello, this is Undersung Psychedelic Albums #1 for White Noise and Electric Storm. Delia Derbyshire and the pinnacle of tape editing. This is a video I've been wanting to do for a while. I was surprised that there's not actually much on YouTube about the album. It's a new kind of video for me. I'm actually on video for a start. What I'll be doing is I'll be taking records I love and providing a bit of context around them. If you enjoy this kind of thing, then please like, subscribe. Sharing is caring. It helps me a lot. Thanks a lot. Okay, so this is kind of a cult album. One of those that people who made it is now pretty well known, but the record itself always seems to linger in the shadows. It's a shame because it's not only a great psychedelic album, it's the greatest expression for me of tape editing as an art. The main star of this story is Delia Derbyshire, who's very rightly known as one of the great innovators of 20th century music, though she herself was undersung in her lifetime. Most information about her tends to kind of centre on her official work for the BBC and her usage of electronics. I get the feeling that this album goes undersung because it doesn't quite fit the narrative of what people believe her to be. In preparation for this video, I read an academic article saying that she was the godmother of EDM, as if that's something that we'd aspire to for a figure. That's a bit of a caricature. She adored Bach, played violin, double bass, piano, though she favoured the harpsichord, like spin it, while she was at home. Not only that, but she could transcribe and harmonise music with an innate knowledge of the rules of music theory as they're taught at the University of Cambridge. There's a saying with artists working in the visual arts, can they draw hands, meaning that apart from the far out conceptual work, do they have the basic skills of draftsmanship and anatomy to be able to carry off everyday portraits and the like. Delia could draw hands, and she liked to counterpoint that with some of the wildest sound effects that anyone had ever heard in their life at that point. She made constructions of pure noise and sensations from household objects and found sound. With the White Noise Project, she and her partners in Mischief composed intricate songs and gave them ornate embellishments that were at times challenging and often eccentric. The listener feels like they're walking from room to room at a very strange party. Magnetic tape did a lot of the heavy lifting with all this. Magnetic tape was first introduced in Germany in 1936. A year later, possibly its greatest manipulator was born in Britain. Young Delia spent many a night curled in a ball, having heard the air raid sirens and waiting for the all-clear ones, fearing bombs in her hometown of Coventry. She later commented that these sounds were her first exposure to electronic music or electric music. They're a dynamo. They're electric music noise making machines calling her towards her destiny, she kind of felt afterwards. Coventry was laid waste by Germany, but before the worst of the damage, she was moved to stay with family in Preston, which is in Lancashire. Tape played its part in the war. Initially, the Allies were puzzled how speeches could be broadcast in such high fidelity across different cities and regions simultaneously. The answer was, of course, that multiple copies had been made and were taken to each city and then broadcast at the same time. It took a while for the Allied forces to get their hands on this new type of machine and reverse engineer it. Once enough machines had fallen into the hands of the Allies or been manufactured by the reverse engineering method, they were distributed amongst the Allies. One place that tape machines ended up was called the Club d'Essai, which was part of the French resistance. It was kind of a loose think tank crossed with a revolutionary army under the umbrella of the national broadcaster Radiophonic Nationale. Its founder, who was an engineer by the name of Pierre Schaffer, took to experimenting with the new material. He took sound and took it out of its linear existence, looped it, changed its speed, reversed it, put it through echo. Other composers took his lead. This was what became known as musique concrète. Music made from real sounds cut together with razor blades. And so, after the war, Schaffer was able to indulge his passion for chopping and screwing tape. Though true nerd, his greatest passion was recording the sound of steam trains. His work, which was attached to the French national broadcaster, inspired others to set up studios investigating both tape and electronic manners of making sound and noise. By 1953 and Orfeo 53, a mini symphony of 17 segments, he was working with another Pierre, Henri. These were the kind of noises that would, within a decade, enter the mainstream as sound effects for films and TV, which is something we're going to come on to, programs like Doctor Who, of course. Okay, so also working with tape was Karlheinz Stockhausen in the now at peace and rapidly growing Germany. He constructed things from electronic sources and tape editing with stereotypical Teutonic accuracy. Germany and France were both producing work that, while innovative, wasn't exactly digestible to mass audiences. This was the pointed tip of the avant-garde, sound-wise. The comedian Richard Herring has a bit where he says that overexposure to avant-garde music and inability to enjoy normal music afterwards is called Stockhausen syndrome. And he's got a point on that. Okay, Stockhausen hated what he called post-African repetition. There was an exchange through the pages of the Wire magazine in, I think, the 90s with the Aphex Twin over this matter. I think Stockhausen had been played music from Aphex Twin. It betrays his prejudices, most definitely. I forget he feels that repetition is one of the most powerful tools in the musical arsenal. It makes people dance for a start. Can knew this. They were Stockhausen students. People don't tend to dance to Stockhausen records. I've seen people breakdancing to Can records. This sound laboratory of the Phillips studio made the astonishingly prescient Tom Disvelt and Kid Baltan records. These records took the sonic palette of the musique concrète and electronic music and put them inside structures which are rhythmic and harmonic and sound very, very current. I want to pause a second and point out, if you want to hear the real, air quotes, birth of EDM, where you want to look is these videos. I mean, even the artist's name sounds modern. Tom Disvelt and Kid Baltan. I'd love to find out enough information to make a video about this. I can't. So you might find it listed under the clickbait title of Acid House from 1958, and that's not far wrong, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. What we're talking about here is the journey of Delia Derbyshire in electronic music. Electronic music studios were being set up in many countries at this time, but not Britain yet. By the age of 13 in 1950, Delia Derbyshire was proficient enough on the piano to be giving lessons to younger students. She earned a bit of money on the side. Aside from that, she excelled at mathematics. Middle class, but upwardly mobile, she attended an all-girls school which wasn't particularly prestigious and went on to study at Cambridge, which most definitely was. After the Second World War, women were starting to enter society on a lot more consistent basis, especially in education. Only 10% of the students was female at this point. Modern attitudes to employment hadn't improved yet either, or at least they hadn't filtered through to record companies. When Delia went for a job at Decca Records in 1959, she was told they had a no-girls policy. This was a couple of years before Decca themselves turned down the Beatles, saying the guitar was dead. So, well done, Decca. At loose end, she went to work in Switzerland, teaching mathematics and piano to the children of rich diplomats. So, while Delia was looking for a home, Daphne Oram was creating it. The BBC Radiophonic Workshop was her brainchild. It was half playground, half laboratory, committed to turning out innovative sounds. It's a sign of how cloth-headed BBC management were that she was forced out of her position by health and safety, by the Health and Safety Department, saying that no one could possibly live and work for more than 3 months in that situation. They'd surely go insane. Oram cashed in her BBC pension and moved to a small town to create her own system of sound. It was called Aramix, and it's based on graphical notation read directly by a sound-making device. Hello. Okay, so that's the end of the first part of the video. We're going up until Delia Derbyshire actually joining the Radiophonic Workshop in this episode only. Thanks for watching. I've already recorded the second episode. I'm putting the soundtrack on and editing it at the moment, so hopefully that should be within the next few days. Until then, please like, subscribe and share. All of this helps, and thanks a lot. See you soon. Bye.